Our mighty friend, full of power, love and intelligence, awaits his teacher. Passing through countless challenges, having failed on many occasions, he has always got up and pressed on, like we all do. Successes have come and gone, so too the glories with them. Living on many worlds over many lifetimes, he has experienced much, both the good and the bad. Rapidly approaching his next mighty challenge, he believes he has all the qualities necessary to step into his new role, that of a planetary logos. What is a planetary logos, you may ask? In short, a world builder, just as you will one day be. We have examples of what a world builder may look like. Take Middle-earth from The Hobbit. One might say J.R.R. Tolkien could be a world builder, so too J.K. Rowling with Hogwarts, or George R.R. Martin and his Seven Kingdoms. But alas, they are a long way off from becoming world builders. Why? There are many qualities that we need to develop before we can become a world builder. The ability to handle incredible power, love and intelligence for a start. The ability to detach oneself from that which one creates. A purity of heart with an acute accuracy of mind and intellect are additional qualities necessary to become a world builder. Be not put off by such immense qualities, for they may seem far from you now, but rest assured, your long journey from ignorance to enlightenment is always assured. It is your destiny without a doubt to become a world builder. Using our three authors above as an example, their worlds quite unique and equally spectacular, what disqualifies them from being world builders? For their worlds are incredible, are they not? Simply put, their worlds are of the imagination. Their worlds exist on imaginary planes of life that have yet to manifest as a real place with living, breathing, thinking individuals and creatures. Understand that their worlds are in the developmental stage. Simple drawings of descriptive text, extremely well done, but still not alive as we define life to be, scientifically speaking, that is. So how do you become a world builder? Well, first of all, you need to have experiences that you may wish to include in your world. You will also need to become increasingly powerful, loving and intelligent, for there is a vast array of detail that is needed for your world to manifest in a real and physical sense. If you become too strong with any one of the above three, namely power, love or intelligence, and they do not grow in a balanced way, then rest assured you will create a mess. But not just an ordinary mess, it's a mess where real living physical beings, human or otherwise, will suffer terribly one way or the other. Some might say, isn't that happening on Earth today? I would say yes and no. Yes, from our perspective, there are many horrific things happening on a daily basis. Wars, famine, poverty, excess, degradation and more. If the media is to be believed, one might say we are living in a type of hell already, and our planetary logos has seriously messed up. In one sense he has, and yet in another he hasn't. It's a matter of perspective. For example, billions of people and trillions of animals, insects, plants and more actually live most of their lives in relative peace and comfort. Viewing it in terms of percentages, it is only a small percentage of individuals, either human, animal or plant, who experience anguish and pain at any given time. Observe your own lives as an example. How much of your time is spent in pain? Some have injuries or sickness, but when measured against your whole life, what percentage of it has been spent in that pain? Even if it is 50-50 in this lifetime, what if you include the hundreds of lifetimes it will take you to evolve from ignorance to enlightenment? You see, it really is a matter of perspective. Most people are oblivious to their previous lifetimes, so it's naturally difficult to measure accurately to form a well-grounded viewpoint of what's going on here. But what if I told you that your forgetting of previous lifetimes is done on purpose and actually speeds up your evolution in the long term, therefore saving you from even greater levels of ignorance and suffering? As challenging as life often is, even for those who are deemed successful, we don't get to see the whole picture until later on in our journey towards enlightenment. Just to clarify, enlightenment is not the end goal, but simply the passing from one stage of life to another, a passing through the human kingdom before progressing on to becoming superhuman. Even so, it's vitally important that you experience all that life offers you as a human being. For these experiences, both good and bad, will be the foundation from which you will create your world, a world that will be real just as this life is that you are experiencing right now. Returning to our original thread of this story. Our friend is on the cusp of becoming a planetary logos, which in more regular terms we are calling a world builder. Our friend, who has become incredibly powerful, loving and intelligent, is looking forward to the next chapter of his endless journey upwards and outwards. Believing he is pure, wise and loving, he awaits the next stage. In his elevated state, life is extremely refined and pure, the energies being of a very high order. So he waits, and waits, and waits. He is conscious of his teacher, a being of true magnificence, who is overseeing hundreds of would-be planetary logos simultaneously. Such are his remarkable abilities. Our friend senses his teacher is ignoring him, so he patiently continues to wait. Time slows, and still he waits. Convinced he had rid himself of the emotional traits that plague humans, a thread of frustration, so thin and barely visible, remains hidden, ready to pounce. A sigh is the first sign of it manifesting, and our friend still waits for his teacher's attention. Still conscious of him, the waiting starts to subtly lay a faint shadow across our friend's heart. The waiting continues as the shadow begins to grow. Another sigh, another subtle disturbance, gradually revealing the pride in our good friend. As time ticks agonizingly by, frustrations are a little stronger now, and his teacher still remains elusive even though consciously close. Time stands still, and the waiting continues. Frustrations are now stronger. At these heightened levels of existence, the faintest hint of emotion can send waves of energy in every direction. Hours turn to days, our friend's frustration steadily evolving into anger. For such an impressive individual, he had been certain he had cleared himself of all human emotion, but clearly he was wrong. As the first week enters into the second, the anger was unmistakable. To his horror, his teacher shuts off all contact, and now our friend is very much alone, suffering now the growing anger. As if he had opened the doors of darkness, waves of anger keep washing over him. He was so close to becoming a planetary logos, and yet here he was, almost back at the beginning, for that was what it felt like. The countless lifetimes he had spent developing his power, love and intelligence, it was as though it was all for nothing. Was this a sick joke? Entering into the third week, anger turns to rage and fury. The idea of returning to the lower levels of life hammers hard at him, brutally so. He has endured so much and suffered even more. All of the people he had come to know and love, to help and to heal, they seemed lost now to this growing shadow, this fury coursing through him. Had he failed again at the very last minute? No! A cry came from deep inside him. He had failed, the realization pummeling hard. In a moment of madness, the shadow consumes him. Like a ray of brilliant sunshine penetrating the darkest regions of despair, a loving, compassionate voice resonates sweetly in his mind. Let go. As if given a helping hand when all seemed lost, our friend suddenly understands. This shadow was the remaining essence of attachment that had stayed hidden from the scrutiny of his deepest meditations. So fine, so subtle, he had missed it time and again, and yet there it was, potent and as powerful as the mightiest of storms. For him to have taken his humble place as a planetary logos, this tiniest thread of attachment could have caused an immeasurable amount of harm across the world he was soon to overshadow and ensole. The shadow dissipates, and our friend is flooded with light and love from his teacher. A great booming laugh erupts around our friend as his teacher welcomes him home. You are now ready, my son, the teacher praises. Are you ready, my brothers and sisters? If not, there really is no rush. Enjoy your experiences, fully immerse yourself in them. When you are ready, you will move on as you always have. Be that subconsciously or consciously, it doesn't matter. You really are a special piece of life, each and every one of you. Keep in mind that the tragedies happening in this extraordinary world of ours last but a heartbeat in the cosmic play that we are all creating. Most of the time, we are similar to NPCs, non-player characters, who aren't expected to achieve much but make up the numbers whilst others achieve their goals. But rest assured, your time for action is made available when you are ready. Not just once or twice, but many times over. You will never miss out when compared to others, for all is relative to one's own experience, growth and progress. Failure is a master teacher, so respect all failures, pick yourself up and go again, for there are always plenty of successes, if not in this lifetime, then certainly in future ones as well as in the past. Brothers and sisters, each and every one of you has so much love to give, power to share, and intelligence to teach. Be brave, patient and kind, for there will be plenty of times when you won't be. All of you are destined to become world builders, so enjoy this time of experience as research for your magnificent world to come. Quite literally, there will be no other world like yours.